For large-scale operations, this can easily total in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. New lighting, HVAC, dehumidifiers, heat curtains, controllers not only can cost a fortune, but are expensive to operate. This is just the unfortunate reality of running a grow facility, but not anymore. If you've heard of a company called Green Rebates, then you already know what I'm talking about. Green Rebates changed the entire indoor cultivation industry seemingly overnight. They are the leading rebate and incentive management company in the US, and their sole purpose is to get you paid for the purchase of new grow equipment. Not a loan, real cash paid to growers. To date, Green Rebates has put more than $75 million back in the pockets of growers all across the nation. It doesn't matter if you've just purchased new equipment, are planning an expansion, opening a new facility, or maybe even just waiting for the economy to turn around before making any purchasing decisions. If you're a grower, you need to call the team at Green Rebates. They run an in-depth review of your facility to find all applicable equipment and energy rebates, and can connect you with every leading product manufacturer to find the right fit for your needs. Then they show up with a check. It won't cost you anything to find out how much money is being left on the table. Money that you can use to grow your business. Call Green Rebates, tell them you heard about them on the Cannabis and Tech Today podcast, and get ready to get paid.
Welcome to another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks presented by Green Rebates. We're here at MJ BizCon, and I'm talking to Kevin Hart, who is the founder and CEO of Green Check.
Correct. Thank you.
I'm fascinated to talk with you about this financial sector of cannabis because you provide banking solutions for people in the cannabis industry. And that has got to be a sort of a wild sector to work in.
Well, it has been. So, very interesting backstory. I was first approached to build a point-of-sale system for the cannabis industry. It's part of my tech background, global CPG brands. And then I found out about the banking challenge, and that became a much more interesting data puzzle to me. I fancy myself a data nerd. I'm not an AI engine on wheels or anything like that, but that became very interesting because, as we're looking at the point-of-sale landscape, to me, that wasn't as intriguing. But every cannabis business, we sit here at an event like this, they need two things to operate. They need the product, the cannabis, and they need a bank account. So if you can insert yourself into that process, you have a good chance of being successful. And then the other challenge was, obviously, the demand was always going to be there. Everybody's going to need a bank account. So this is going back to 2016, 2017. 13 states, $3 billion, but the projections were always going to be there that was going to grow, and they've been pretty accurate in terms of market growth. And so, again, you can look at things from a demand perspective or a supply problem. I wanted to attack the supply problem. How do you convince banks and credit unions that they can serve cannabis businesses? Because it's not federally illegal to bank cannabis. It's federally illegal to sell cannabis. The banks aren't selling it, they're just providing services. And so we took 2 years to design our company, understand how it should work. Then we built our product, we launched it, and by any measure in today's world, we are the largest provider of banking services to the cannabis industry. We've signed over 175 different financial institutions, including Guam and Saipan, but mostly domestic U.S. We have 13,000 cannabis businesses on our platform, and we process over $1 billion a month of sales deposits into our connected financial institution. We're probably the best kept secret in cannabis.
You are, because so much of what I do as a writer, writing about cannabis, has to do with 280E, the banking issue, the fact that dispensaries were victim to smash and grabs during the pandemic because people just knew that they would be sitting on piles of cash.
Tons. Crazy stories.
Yeah, tell us a story, any kind of story about a problem that you solved.
Well, so early on, we'll leave the names out of it. We'll even leave the state out of it, but people will be able to deduce this. We had a phone call with somebody, and it was 10 minutes late. And things happen. So eventually, this gal calls us, and she said, "Sorry I'm late, but I live up in the mountains, and I don't get cell service, so I had to drive down the mountain to find a spot so I can call you guys." I run multiple dispensaries. I spend 1 day a week as the owner of these dispensaries driving around, going to Western Union to get checks and money orders for all this cash that I have, and I literally spend a day. That's all I do from dawn to dusk is driving around. And I have to do that every week. And she goes, and I am tripping over boxes of cash in my house. Now, she had never met us, so it's kind of risky actually sharing that kind of information. We're looking at each other on the phone and go, did she really just say that? It's something. We're nice people. We're not going to say anything, but nobody should have to live that like that. And she shouldn't have to take that time away. So we actually did. We were successful, and we got her a bank account. And we've done that for thousands of other businesses.
Yeah, the basic safety of, going from being a high-risk potential target to just being able to put your money into a bank must be such a relief for the folks that you help who have never been able to have a bank account for that business.
Exactly. So it's a myth that you can't have a bank account. You can have a bank account. You can have a loan. You can have payroll services. We have wealth management people on the platform because they run successful businesses and they just don't want to leave the money in a bank account, even though interest rates have improved on the CD side. They've also gone up on the lending side too, so it's a trade balance. But there's more to do with banking than just simple deposit services. We've navigated that and enabled that across the country.
And it sounds like a piece of what you're doing, it doesn't really matter about the policy that's in play right now because you're just dealing with the solution of this sort of banking issue. Do you feel like there is, with the incoming administration, a new era where policy might change and affect the business that you're doing?
Well, so there's a couple things. One, financial institutions throughout this whole problem, their biggest challenge is how do they know they're letting good money in and keeping bad money out? And so right now everything is ruled and regulated at the state level. And it could be at the city, county, or state level, as we know, based on certain jurisdictions and the license. So financial institution has to know that I, with my license and what I do in the whole supply chain of cannabis, and following the rules and regulations as to how I produce revenue, and they'll bank me. So we're a gigantic, complex data engine that is around compliance. Now, what will happen with rescheduling and descheduling, be careful what you wish for, folks. It's not going to be what you think it is. So with that, there's going to be more rules and regulations. There's never going to be less. Okay? This is as good as it gets today. I genuinely believe that. And I could very well be wrong, but I don't think so. Because as you look at rescheduling and descheduling, you're going to start having interstate and international commerce come into play. And now the product is what's being sold, which is mean that's where the money comes from. You're really going to have to make sure that comes into play. And you're already looking at California, New Jersey, and a couple of other states on the ALBEV and the beverage side of things and how that's sold. So there's going to be more rules and regulations. And then on the safer banking side, that's going to be an opt-out versus an opt-in model, which means there's going to be more rules and regulations because Treasury is never going to say, yeah, go ahead and let all the money come in, because they want the tax back to 280E. So when you take 280E away, that's all going to be replaced with excise tax. Rescheduling and safer all have excise tax associated with it. The federal government wants their piece of the pie. Now, the only way they know how to get that is because they have to know where the money goes.
Right.
So here we are back to banking again. So it's there's a trade-off, but again, for the cannabis industry, access to all these services is what's needed.
How did you get into cannabis specifically as a numbers guy?
Well, I'm a software guy originally, all the way back to the 70s. I'm a finger-on programmer.
You're a coder?
Yeah, I'm a coder, assembler. I started as assembler, COBOL programmer in the 70s. So
wow.
real nerd. But I've run global point-of-sale companies and CPG companies in the past. And so I was approached to build a point of sale, and so I went out to Harborside in Oakland and spent a lot of time with Dress and Steve D'Angelo, and they were already on their third point of sale system. And then I found out about the banking problem, and I just started picking at that a little bit more with Dress and more conversations with him, and there's some interesting backstories there. But I was like, I don't care about point of sale anymore. I want to solve this problem because it's a data problem. And so you have these two independent, highly regulated industries that are going to love to work together, but they're not going to be able to figure out how. And it was never an aptitude problem, but cannabis rules and regulations are constantly evolving. 13 states, $3 billion, medical only, adults coming, and then you have banking, right? It's, it's not the most innovative space in the world, sorry, and technologically they're behind. And in the very beginning, anytime we would talk to somebody who said, I want to talk to you about cannabis, we would get the Heisman pose. Now, we never even got banking out.
Right.
So it was constant education, and we had to go through the proof points to do it. And so we took our time.
Yeah.
It was never about being first. You always just want to be the best.
What are your hopes as the best for this next chapter of Green Check? What's coming up?
So we have some very interesting things going on. We announced a partnership with Keeson here to bring smart safes to the cannabis retail side. We do the whole supply chain, where that's going to be providing provisional credit on day of sale, which will elevate deposit dollars and not increase the fees. We do a lot with lending. We had an economic study done. The cannabis industry is projected to need $56 to $160 billion in the next 5 to 8 years in capital to continue to grow. We're seeing that here. So where are they going to find access to 56 or $100 billion? We hope to be able to play a part in that and facilitate that, which is what we do with our marketplace through the banking relationships that we have. And of those 13,000 businesses that we have on our platform, only 200 actually pay to be on it. All the rest are there for free. You can find all these services for free.
And where do people find you as we wrap up?
We're greencheckverified.com, but we're pretty simple to find, or we can hook you up with a bank or a lot of different providers of business and financial services.
Thank you so much for talking with us about this. It's
my
so
pleasure.
interesting. Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. This has been another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks presented by Green Rebates here at MJ BizCon, and we'll see you next time.
Today's podcast is brought to you by O2 Vape, a proud USA veteran-owned company that's been delivering high-quality portable vaping products since 2014. Whether you're looking for your next premium vape or you're a B2B retailer looking for innovative products, O2 Vape has you covered. From their exclusive patented Flip Ultra to a wide array of all-glass disposable vape pens, O2 Vape is your only source for truly innovative vape technology. And with a lifetime warranty on their products, you know you're getting the best. For both personal use and wholesale opportunities, visit o2vape.com today.